In the Field updates on Market Journal are supported by the Nebraska Corn Board.
Kicking things off today, as you know, we like to keep tabs on how things are shaping up and turning out in the field. During last week's taping in Kansas City, the Market Journal team caught up with custom harvester Paul Paplo to get his take on Harvest 2024.
Thanks for sitting down with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell me about your harvest run, summer run. I suppose it starts with wheat.
Yep, yeah, summer run. So we started in North Texas this year, and which probably had the best crop we'd ever harvested in Texas. Most of the summer harvest from Oklahoma, southern Kansas was good. Western Kansas was a little struggling. Nebraska had a good crop. Montana had an awesome crop again. We finished up in northwest North Dakota, and they had a respectable crop, nothing special, but it was a very good crop. From there, we returned back to southwest Minnesota, northwest Iowa, and eastern South Dakota. And eastern South Dakota had a pretty nice crop around our home area, northwest Iowa, southwest Minnesota. We were down quite a bit from normal. I'd say probably 30-40% down compared to the last 2-3 years on average. So overall, a good year, but definitely the crops struggled at home because of wet spring and dry summer.
You may start with wheat, but you've got a lot of crops you're harvesting along the way. How many different crops do you harvest?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you the number, but we do a lot of wheat, canola, lentils, field peas, chickpeas, mustard, corn, soybeans, camelina. Got a pretty good variety of stuff that we do.
Tell me about the size of your operation and the number of acres you're able to cover in a year.
We run 10 machines ourselves, all Class 8 Case H machines. We cover about 130 to 140,000 this past year, which would have probably been our biggest year we ever had.
Is that pretty standard with the industry right now?
You know, I'd say that we probably push a little harder than a lot of harvesters do, but I would say most harvesters would be that 8,000 to 9,000 per machine would be my estimate.
Whenever we visit with folks like yourself from the U.S. Custom Harvesters Inc. group, we learn about labor challenges, and a lot of them will turn to the H-2A program. You know, when I were visiting, you've got an American crew that you run, and you've got creative with your recruitment efforts.
Yep. So, you know, basically social media is our biggest thing that we can do. TikTok, Facebook is probably where we do the most recruiting for help. And, you know, we got a lot of employees that do a lot of TikTok. So usually people see that and they'll follow our crew. Then if they're interested, next year they start sending applications in for us.
What kinds of content are you all posting on TikTok?
Only the good stuff. The pretty pictures, the pretty sunsets, and equipment running the way it should.
Not the breakdowns.
Never the breakdowns.
That's an interesting, the labor challenge. I guess it's not a challenge per se, but you were sharing, you know, kind of since COVID, you all have been fairly lucky in your recruitment efforts and keeping a good crew going.
Yeah, it has been. You know, with the pandemic, it really kind of took a toll on us. It was hard to find labor. First couple years after the pandemic, it got a little bit better, but still struggle. But it seemed about a year ago, the American interest has really come back around for join the wheat harvest. And yeah, this past year was very easy finding help for us.
You run the crew with your dad, it sounds like. How have you and how has he seen this industry change?
It's changed, you know, the amount of harvesters that are out there, it's nothing like what it used to be. We used to go to Anthony, Kansas, or we still go there, but back when I started going there in the early 90s, there was probably 30 crews in that town. Now I think there's 3 crews. The size machines, you don't need near as many machines anymore, but it just seems like a lot of harvesters have grown in size too. So a lot of guys getting out and just don't need the machines like we used to.
Is that a decline in wheat acres in particular, or are local farmers opting to harvest on their own?
Probably a little bit of both. Wheat acres definitely down from where they used to be. Our wheat harvest is bigger than it ever has been, so it seems like we've been able to pick up wheat acres, but in general, the wheat acres are not there. And then some farmers are doing stuff themselves down south, where it used to be primarily custom harvested. You get northern states, though, where it used to all be farmer-owned machines. It seems like they're switching to a lot of custom harvesting now, too. So it's kind of changed in a lot of the areas where, you know, they used to be predominant one way or the other.
So a common theme with our conversations this week as we're visiting at Kansas City is the downward ag economy. How has that impacted you and your operation?
You know, it's definitely impacted us. Equipment costs has been a big issue with us. We need to up our rates, but it's hard to up our rates because downturn farmers can't afford to pay us anymore. And I understand it, and they understand our point of view too. But, you know, they might have a budget where they can hire X amount of acres done or X amount of dollars they can spend. Or a guy maybe give us 3,000 acres last year. This year, he might only give us 2,000 because he just does not have the budget for it. So he can only give us a little bit. He's just got to spend more time trying to keep his costs down by doing his own stuff.
What's the best part of your job?
Finishing every year. So now the best part of my job is the farmers, the relationships you gain with them, friendships. So, you know, there's a lot of trying times, a lot of struggles, but at the end of the day, it's the farmers you get to know and basically like family. So,
Well, Paul, it's great to visit with you. What else is on your mind?
so not too much. Everything is labor industry is hard for us right now, the labor market. So if we can get any help with the new administration in DC, it would be really good for the H2A if we can get some reform done there. That's going to be the biggest issue for farmers going forward, I believe. There's too many people removed from the farm now, so you don't get near the interest in farm kids wanting to come out and work for anyone. And yeah, the more help we can get from the legislation side in DC would definitely benefit us in the future.
I'm glad to hear you guys had another good harvest run, and best of luck next year. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thank you.